I never believed in the stories about the witch's grave. Growing up in Willowbrook, tales of old Agnes Thompson and her cursed burial site seemed like nothing more than fodder for sleepovers and campfire chills. That was until the night I decided to see for myself. It was a crisp autumn evening, the air filled with the scent of fallen leaves and wood smoke. My friends, Jake and Sarah, had dared me to visit the cemetery on the outskirts of town where Agnes was supposedly buried. They promised they'd meet me at the old iron gates, but when I arrived, they were nowhere to be seen. Typical, muttered, pushing open the rusty gate. It groaned in protest, sending a shiver down my spine. The cemetery was eerily quiet, save for the distant hoot of an owl. As I walked along the narrow, winding path, the full moon cast long shadows that seemed to dance among the tombstones. Finding Agnes's grave was surprisingly easy. It was the one plot that stood out, a single weathered headstone surrounded by a wrought iron fence. Local legend had it that the fence was meant to keep her spirit trapped, preventing her from seeking revenge on the townsfolk who had condemned her. I hesitated at the gate, a sense of unease washing over me. The dare was to touch the headstone, a simple enough task. The air around me felt heavy, almost oppressive. Taking a deep breath, I unlatched the gate and stepped inside. The moment I touched the cold, rough surface of the headstone, the wind picked up, howling through the trees like a chorus of mournful wails. I yanked my hand back, heart pounding in my chest. It was then that I noticed the sudden drop in temperature, my breath visible in the air despite the mild night. And then I heard it, a faint whisper, indistinct but undeniably real. I spun around, eyes scanning the darkened cemetery. There was no one there, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was unmistakably angry, accusing. Panicking, I bolted for the gate, fumbling with the latch in my haste. As I sprinted down the path, I heard a low, guttural growl behind me. I dared to glance over my shoulder and saw nothing but shadows. Yet the feeling of being pursued was relentless. I didn't stop running until I was back at the iron gates. Jake and Sarah were waiting there, their faces pale and eyes wide. "Did you hear that?" Jake stammered. "We thought you were right behind us." I shook my head, trying to catch my breath. "No," I gasped. I was alone, but something's definitely out there. In the days that followed, strange things began to happen. My bedroom window, which I always kept shut, would be wide open each morning. Objects in my room were moved, sometimes violently thrown about. I felt a cold presence watching me, especially at night, and the whispers haunted my dreams, filled with words of vengeance and injustice. I finally confided in my grandmother, the town historian. Her eyes widened with concern as I told her what had happened. "Agnes Thompson was no witch," she said quietly. "She was a healer, wrongly accused. They buried her in that iron cage to keep her spirit from finding peace." Determined to set things right, I returned to the cemetery one last time, this time with my grandmother by my side. She carried a bundle of herbs and a small vial of holy water, muttering a prayer as we approached Agnes's grave. We stood by the headstone, and my grandmother sprinkled the herbs around it, whispering words of forgiveness. "Rest in peace, Agnes," she said softly, pouring the holy water over the grave. The wind calmed, and for the first time since that fateful night, I felt a sense of peace. Cold presence vanished, and the whispers ceased. As we walked back to the gate, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. "Do you think it's over?" I asked. Grandmother nodded. "Agnes needed someone to acknowledge her suffering and offer her forgiveness. You've done that. She can rest now." Though the legend of the witch's grave persisted in Willowbrook, I knew the truth. Agnes Thompson had finally found peace, and the curse that had haunted the town for generations was broken. But I would never forget the terror I felt that night, and the lesson that sometimes the past needs to be understood and forgiven, be truly laid to rest. I wanted to take a moment to personally thank our very first subscriber, and for those who like and watch our videos. Your support means the world to me, and I am incredibly grateful for your trust and encouragement as I embark on this exciting journey. Thank you once again for your support. I look forward to sharing this journey with you.